Hey everyone, it's the Coral Current here. I bet you didn't know how the US-China trade war could impact the global economy. The trade war between the United States and China has escalated. China recently announced a new 34% tariff on all goods imported from the United States. This tariff is in addition to existing tariffs which range from 10 to 15%. The combined tariffs make American goods far more expensive in China. This latest move is in response to increased tariffs imposed by the United States on Chinese goods. The timing of the announcement is significant. China chose to make the announcement on a Friday evening. This timing coincides with a public holiday in China. Some analysts believe this was a strategic move. By releasing the news on a holiday, China could minimize immediate domestic reactions. The decision to implement further tariffs signals a hardening of China's stance. It suggests that China is prepared for a protracted trade dispute. The move has been met with concern by businesses and economists worldwide. The escalation of the trade war has raised questions about the future of US-China relations. It has also fueled uncertainty in the global economy. The situation remains fluid, with no clear end in sight. Both countries appear entrenched in their positions. This raises the specter of a prolonged trade conflict with potentially global consequences. American farmers are feeling the brunt of the trade war. China is a major market for US agricultural products. The new tariffs will make it harder for American farmers to sell their goods in China. This is because American products will now be more expensive than those from other countries. Soybeans, pork, and sorghum are among the products most affected. These products are staples of American agriculture. They represent a significant portion of US agricultural exports. The tariffs could have a devastating impact on farmers who rely on the Chinese market. Many fear they will be forced to sell their products at a loss or even go out of business. The tariffs are already having a ripple effect throughout the agricultural industry. Shipping companies are seeing a decline in business. Prices for agricultural equipment are falling. Rural communities that depend on agriculture are bracing for economic hardship. The situation highlights the vulnerability of American farmers in the trade war. It also underscores the interconnectedness of the global economy. The trade dispute is having a direct impact on the livelihoods of American workers. This is adding to the pressure on the US government to find a resolution. The trade war between the US and China is causing anxiety across the global economy. These two countries are the world's two largest economies. They play a crucial role in international trade. The escalating tariffs threaten to disrupt global supply chains. This disruption could lead to higher prices and slower economic growth worldwide. Businesses that rely on components from both countries are particularly vulnerable. They face the difficult choice of absorbing increased costs or passing them on to consumers. This uncertainty is causing many businesses to delay investments and hiring. This could further dampen economic activity. The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, has already downgraded its global growth forecast due to the trade war. The IMF warns that the tariffs could have a significant impact on global trade and investment. It urges both sides to find a negotiated solution. The escalating trade tensions come at a time when the global economy is already facing headwinds. Growth is slowing in many parts of the world. Brexit remains unresolved. Geopolitical tensions are high. The trade war is adding another layer of uncertainty to an already fragile global economic landscape. Section 4. A stalemate in the Pacific. Despite the economic fallout, neither the US nor China seems willing to back down. Both sides appear entrenched in their positions. The US accuses China of unfair trade practices and intellectual property theft. China maintains that it is open to dialogue but will not be bullied into concessions. The US has shown no signs of easing its tariffs. In fact, it has threatened to impose even more tariffs on Chinese goods. China has responded in kind, vowing to retaliate against any further US actions. This stalemate has led to a hardening of positions on both sides. Public rhetoric has become increasingly hostile. The risk of miscalculation and further escalation is growing. The lack of progress in negotiations is concerning. It suggests that the trade war could continue for an extended period. This would have serious consequences for both countries and the global economy. It is crucial that both sides return to the negotiating table and work towards a mutually acceptable solution. Section 5. Two roads diverge. The future of the US-China trade war remains uncertain. There are two possible scenarios. The first scenario is continued escalation. In this scenario, both sides continue to impose tariffs and other trade barriers. This would lead to further economic damage and could potentially tip the world into a recession. The second scenario is a negotiated settlement. In this scenario, both sides agree to roll back some or all of the tariffs. This would require compromise from both sides. However, it would be the best outcome for the global economy. Which scenario plays out will depend on a number of factors. Domestic politics in both countries will play a role. The willingness of both sides to compromise will also be crucial. The global community will be watching closely as the situation unfolds. The stakes are high. The outcome of the trade war will have profound implications for the US, China, and the entire world. A prolonged trade war would be a lose-lose situation for everyone. It is in the best interests of all parties to find a peaceful resolution.